Many people ask me about whether smoking marijuana can actually help epilepsy, and I'm here to explain how that does work. Hi, I'm Martin, and I have an extreme form of epilepsy where I experience one seizure a week, and I'm here to share my story with you. It was in 2016 that I actually went to Melbourne to see a doctor just to ask about different ways that I could improve my epilepsy. And I was told that they were about to start a new trial on adults using cannabis. But it was a form of cannabis called CBD oil, or medicinal cannabis. I'll explain the difference between what is cannabis, which is also marijuana, and the medicinal cannabis. With medicinal cannabis, it's just CBD oil, which is one factor of marijuana. With marijuana, there are two factors. There is CBD oil and the THC element of it. Now, the CBD oil is something that calms down the body and helps the actual body not only directly with epilepsy, but helps you absorb other medications. So when people have a body or immune system that rejects medication like myself, it helps to absorb the medication. Now, it's the THC element, or the second one, that what makes people feel high when they're smoking marijuana. Now, being someone who has actually experienced the smoking of marijuana in my late teens, I understand how that felt. And to tell the truth, it's a very different feeling to actually just taking the CBD oil. But it did help my epilepsy incredibly, because when I saw a video of myself having a seizure before starting this trial. If you can imagine me lying on my bed and suddenly my legs lifted up in the air and started cycling like I'm riding a bike. And my head was twitching to the right because it's coming from the left side of the brain. This would see me falling out of bed and start circling around on the floor and kicking the wall and the bed. And I had no memory of this. For me, it was like the next morning I'd wake up back in bed, but I would realize that I'd lost skin off my arm, and because I had carpet burn, and that would make me realize I'd had a seizure. But when the CBD oil was introduced, suddenly all I was doing was just a slight twitching for a short minute. The rest of my body did not get involved in it. So the CBD oil was stopping the irregular activity from leaving that focal region and spreading through my body. And so that was why I was only just twitching for a short period, and the seizure would finish much more quickly. So it has become a very positive aspect for me. Although the trial went for 3.5 years, it was that important. They actually had myself as well as a young teenager who had dementia actually experiencing reduction in their seizures. And my neurologist said at the end of it that although they have now stopped funding it, it's too important for you to stop using this medication. So for me, I needed to start buying it at full price, which is very expensive, but it's something I had to do. So nowadays, because the government unfortunately is not seeing it as a medication that sits in the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, they don't support it in any way. So I'm paying $100 a week for this medication. And although it sounds like a lot of money, it's better than falling out of bed and losing skin off my body and seeing all these damages happening to my body. So it is an important medication, and I think it will be very beneficial for a lot of people once the Australian government does accept it and start using it as a means for treating epilepsy. Now, the Australian government at the moment is not supporting the use of CBD, which is one of the portions of marijuana, because there is such a misconception about marijuana. We all have these stories from growing up hearing about how it's a bad drug. But what they need to understand and accept is that when the THC element, or what makes a person have psychological misconceptions, removed from the medication, because it's lower than 1% in the CBD oil, so it no longer has that effect. It is very important for treating epilepsy. Now, the THC does not help epilepsy. It can help other conditions like cancer, because what they do is increase the THC slightly to around 25%. Because what it does is it works as a pain relief medication. So for many people who have cancer, it is that higher level of THC that allows their brain not to recognize the pain and allows them to get through the situation with far less need for drugs such as Panadol or Nurofen to take away the pain, because the THC element within the CBD oil is doing that. But it is at a much lower level than it is in marijuana. So the smoking of marijuana would be giving people a relief with the CBD oil, but because there's still that high level of THC, it's causing people to be delusional and not be able to just stay focused on doing something like studying at university. But for me, it is that THC element removed and just having the CBD oil that makes it so much easier for me to work.